Before we go any further, viewer discretion is strongly advised. What you're about to hear is based on real federal courtroom testimony, reported word for word by Inner City Press. It's educational, it's disturbing, and it's about to shake everything you thought you knew about the music industry. Kanye West didn't just testify against Diddy, he took the entire courtroom and the internet by storm. He stared down the jury. He pulled off his shades, and then he said it. This ain't just about Diddy. This goes back to Whitney Houston. This goes back to Clive Davis. Gasps, objections, shock. Why would Kanye accuse one of the most powerful men in music of orchestrating one of the most tragic deaths in pop culture history? What did he mean when he said the party Clive threw the night Whitney died wasn't a tribute, but a ritual? And most importantly, what if he's telling the truth? In this video, we break down the most explosive celebrity testimony in decades. From chilling symbolism to damning timelines and whispers of sacrifice hidden behind fame, this is the story they never wanted you to hear. The federal courtroom was packed. Reporters crowded outside, cameras flashing, trying to capture a glimpse of the man at the center of a media firestorm, Kanye West. Dressed in a muted gray suit and dark shades, he walked in with quiet intensity, flanked by heavy security. He wasn't there to perform, he was there to testify. The case? A high-profile trial against Sean Diddy Combs, charged with trafficking, abuse, and manipulation. Allegations that had already rocked the entertainment world. Everyone expected fireworks, but no one was ready for what Kanye was about to unleash. He took his seat. Silence followed. This wasn't just another celebrity witness. This was Ye, the lightning rod of pop culture. The courtroom seemed to hold its breath. At first, his testimony followed the expected script. Kanye spoke about his early interactions with Diddy, business meetings, studio sessions, after-parties. He painted a picture of a powerful man using charm and status to control young artists. He mentioned late-night gatherings at undisclosed locations, describing them as places where people lost themselves. It was already eyebrow-raising, but then came the turning point. The prosecution asked a simple follow-up. "Do you believe Mr. Combs acted alone?" Kanye paused. Slowly, he removed his sunglasses. He looked directly at the jury. "You want the truth?" he said. "Then you need to know. This ain't just about Diddy. It's bigger. Much bigger. This goes back to Whitney Houston. This goes back to Clive Davis." The entire room froze, gasps, whispering. A ripple of shock swept through the gallery. Even the judge appeared taken aback, leaning back in her chair. Legal teams on both sides scrambled, unsure how to respond. The media buzzed to life, fingers flying across keyboards. Kanye didn't blink. "Y'all keep asking about Diddy like he's the top. He ain't. He's a puppet. The real puppet master is Clive Davis." Objections erupted. Diddy's attorneys leapt to their feet. But Kanye's voice only grew louder, more determined. He wasn't just giving testimony anymore, he was starting a revolution. The courtroom wasn't prepared. No one was. What had started as a star-studded testimony against Diddy was now spiraling into a dark, disturbing accusation against one of the most legendary names in music, Clive Davis. Kanye didn't hesitate. He brought up the night of February 11th, 2012, the night Whitney Houston died. Her body was discovered in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Just hours later, Clive Davis hosted his annual pre-Grammy party in the same hotel, just floors below her lifeless body. "You mean to tell me she dies upstairs and they party downstairs?" Kanye asked, eyes locked on the jury. "That ain't tribute, that's ritual." The room stirred. Some jurors shifted uncomfortably. One woman covered her mouth. Kanye's tone was calm, but cold. He continued. He described how, in his view, the music industry isn't just a business. It's a machine, a system. And Clive Davis, he claimed, wasn't just a mentor or executive. He was the architect. According to Kanye, Whitney had been trying to break free. She was planning something, he said, talking to people, writing things down, reaching out. She was trying to get out. And when you try to get out, they put you down. He accused Clive of maintaining control not only over her music, but over her image, her narrative, even in death. She was worth more dead than alive, and they knew it, Kanye stated. Sales soared, licensing boomed, Clive got richer. He then invoked the eerie, infamous interview clip just days before Whitney died, where she interrupted Brandy and handed her a note. In that footage, Whitney was visibly distressed and reportedly whispered the word, drown. "You think?" She didn't know. Kanye asked. That was a cry for help, and nobody answered. Security began to stir, but the judge raised a hand. Let him finish. Kanye wasn't done. He claimed someone had wiped a phone call Whitney made just hours before her death. An unanswered voicemail he said was removed from records. When asked who could do that, he said, "The people Clive works for. The ones running this game before. Y'all were even born." By now, the courtroom was silent. The press typed furiously. Diddy looked stunned, not from the attacks on him, but from the shift in blame. This wasn't about Diddy anymore. Kanye was pulling back the curtain on something much darker. By this point, Kanye had everyone's attention, and he knew it. He stepped further into territory most celebrities wouldn't dare touch. What started as a shocking accusation was now becoming a detailed pattern. A pattern of power, silence, and death. You ever wonder why the legends all die the same way? Kanye asked. Alone, broke, drugged, forgotten, until their sales spike. The courtroom was silent. He rattled off names: Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, Bobby Christina. One by one, he painted them not as cautionary tales, but as casualties of something larger. They didn't just die, Kanye said. They were silenced. He claimed Whitney wasn't the first and wouldn't be the last. According to Kanye, there was a blueprint, a method, and at the center of that method was the music industry's unspoken rule: stay in line or get erased. He pointed to Prince's final years, his battles over music ownership, his warnings in interviews, and his death in an elevator. He mentioned Michael Jackson's paranoia, his taped phone calls, and his fear that they're coming for me. And now look at me, Kanye added. They call me crazy too, just like they did them. He wasn't speaking hypothetically, he was sounding the alarm. Kanye accused Clive Davis not just of exploiting the system, but of designing it. He claimed Diddy didn't invent the culture of manipulation, he inherited it. That Clive created the environment where abuse thrived, and the only way to stay safe was to stay silent. Diddy's guilty, Kanye said, but he's not alone. Someone gave him the playbook. The jury was leaning in now. One woman's eyes brimmed with tears. Then Kanye shifted to Bobby Christina, Whitney's daughter, who died under eerily similar circumstances. Same drugs, same bathtub, same silence. You don't call that a pattern? Kanye asked. Mother and daughter both found the same way. That's not coincidence, that's a message. He suggested Bobby Christina was targeted not just because of who she was, but because of what she knew. That she was asking too many questions, saying too much. You think lightning strikes twice in the same family in the same way and nobody's responsible? He turned back to the gallery. You want to talk about justice? Start by asking who benefits. Kanye's voice trembled now, not with fear, but with fury. They all tried to fight back. Michael, Prince, Whitney. They wanted out. And now they're gone. You call it coincidence. I call it a kill list. By the time he paused, the courtroom wasn't breathing. The pattern had been laid out, piece by piece. And for the first time, people were starting to see it. After Kanye's explosive claims, the courtroom was stunned, but the prosecution wasn't done. They began presenting evidence. First came witness testimony from hotel staff who worked the night Whitney Houston died. One employee, testifying anonymously, said they saw executives coming and going from Whitney's floor hours before the Clive Davis party began. When asked if they looked upset, the staffer shook their head. No, they looked calm, like it was handled. Then came footage from the infamous pre-Grammy party itself. Celebrities laughing, posing for pictures, sipping champagne, all just one floor, below the room where Whitney's body lay for over 11 hours. The contrast was chilling. The prosecution called it what Kanye had already implied. Not a tribute, but a celebration of silence. A longtime friend of Whitney's told the jury she would have never wanted that party to happen. That wasn't her. That was them. When asked who them was, she answered without hesitation. The ones who made money whether she lived or died. Then came the bombshell, the Brandy interview clip, played for the courtroom again. Whitney interrupts the media event, hands Brandy a note, and repeats the word drown. An expert in behavioral analysis testified that such a repetition, in that context, could indicate premonition or fear. It was like she knew, the expert said. She was scared, and she was trying to warn someone. Next, the prosecution introduced financial records. Within 24 hours of Whitney's death, her album sales skyrocketed, jumping over 1,000%. Licensing deals were renegotiated, streaming platforms surged, and who benefited the most? Sony Music and Clive Davis. The jury was visibly disturbed. The prosecution then introduced testimony from an ex-Clive Davis employee who described a phone call overheard just days before Whitney's death. If she won't play ball, she's a liability, she claimed, Clive said. That's not my problem anymore. Whether the quote could be verified was uncertain, but the courtroom heard it. Then came more video, interviews with Chaka Khan and others who refused to attend the party that night. One clip showed Chaka trembling. I couldn't go. I just couldn't. It didn't feel right. The visuals were powerful. Red lighting, strange symbols, everyone dressed in black. A whistleblower testifying anonymously said, I've been to every Clive Davis party for 15 years. That one felt different. Not like grief, like closure. Kanye's earlier words echoed in the courtroom. You're worth more dead than alive, as long as they own your masters. This wasn't just shocking, it was starting to feel real. Piece by piece, the prosecution was assembling a puzzle that looked less like a tragedy and more like a plan. Kanye West was granted one final statement. Legally unnecessary, but the judge allowed it. He walked slowly back to the stand. The room, once buzzing with chaos, now sat still, watching, waiting. Kanye leaned into the microphone. They tried to silence me too, he said. Just like they did Whitney, Michael, Prince. They wanted out, and they got put down. He stared across the courtroom, at the press, at the jury, at Diddy. Diddy didn't throw that party because he wanted to. He threw it because he had to. That's what happens when you sign a soul deal with devils. Then he mentioned Fahim Muhammad again, the man tied to both Michael Jackson and Diddy's inner circles. Kanye called him the ghost handler, moving silently between stars just before their downfalls. Michael's last phone call wasn't about Sony, it was about Clive Davis. He said it, out loud, not in code, in name. The room shook. Kanye then addressed the elephant in the room, the label. You want to call me crazy? Fine. You did the same to to Mike, to Whitney. But the difference is, I'm still breathing, and I ain't going to stop talking. Because silence is how they win, and I ain't letting them win. With that, he stepped down. The gavel dropped. The trial continued. But the energy had shifted. This wasn't just a celebrity case anymore. It was a mirror, and Kanye had made sure everyone was looking into it. If this story hit you, share it. If you see the pattern, comment. And if you're ready for more truths the industry wants buried, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning.